Okay, Dostie here with Dostie's View, and just a couple quick little notes. I don't know how many episodes ago it was, but I showed you what I did to modify these TX Pros. Basically, I got rid of the cuff bar and back, so these things are permanently in walk mode. Now, I always ski in walk mode, and the question is, did that hurt me in downhill mode? Absolutely not. There was no difference that I could tell between these TX Pros with no cuff bar and so therefore being permanently in walk mode and nothing to restrict forward flex, and my TXs where I still have the walk bar, the cuff bar, and I ski in walk mode. Honestly, I think the only difference between the two is I don't have as many days on these boots, so the bellows are a little bit stiffer. And so I may be switching to these more often, just because the TXs, I don't know how many 100 days they have on them now, but they were getting pretty soft today. That was the other thing. I was using some of my skis in my quiver for an example of how to read skis, and one of the skis that I put in there was the Solomon Czar, and I'd never skied it until today, and it did get out on them today. We got quite a bit of snow here in the Front Strange in Colorado. You can see this is very unusual to have this much snow down here in the valley floor in the Front Strange. And we got probably twice this up in the mountains. In fact, there was Cameron Pass is closed up by Fort Collins because of an avalanche that crossed the road and left all kinds of debris. Anyway, it was soft snow at Eldora today, right? So I thought it's a good day to check out the Solomon Czars. And they were great for the soft snow, but it really wasn't that deep. I really didn't need the Czars. And where I noticed that was, it was a fair amount of soft but packed snow, and because those have a rockered tail, I really couldn't rebound off them, which is what I expected, okay? So I really just had to keep things moving and not finish my turns and just, jump into the next turn. As long as it was soft, I was fine. But because those things are over 110 millimeters wide at the waist, and I'm in a fairly small Telemark boot when I'm on those, when we got down to the front side of the resort, kind of like last run of the day, things had warmed up and consolidated, and it was still kind of soft, but man, I could feel that I did not have enough leverage in my boots to hold skis that wide on edge. So I wished I had a narrower ski, which is kind of exactly what I would have expected in reading the Czar. But the main thing I wanted to talk to you about today is that we're going to be relaunching Telemark Skier Magazine.com, okay, telemarkskier.com, and I'm going to be heading up the editorial on that. Madsen is totally down with that, and I love it, and it's really, for me, it's really great to be working with someone who's on the same page, who's encouraging, and basically taking care of the crap in the background, because he likes that challenge. I don't know why, but he does. So thank you, Josh. It's awesome. Okay. But one of the first stories we're going to launch that with is a story by Susie Sutphin, who is actually really the person behind launching Telemark Skier Magazine. And I just wanted to give kind of a little bit more background insight on that, because what you're going to get is her side of the story, which there's nothing, that's her side of the story. It's true, okay? My side of the story, because she's the one that convinced me to go forward and do it, is it happened at an SIA show where there was a whole bunch of us, and we had this high-level telemark meeting, and it was all about marketing. It was about marketing telemark skiing. And Josh Bones Murphy, who was really influential at the time with his Telemark Movies, put forth a theory, a proposition, okay, that we shouldn't be focusing on the word telemark, but we should be pushing freeheel, because that would take advantage of the freeheel mentality of alpine touring skiers and tie in with backcountry skiing, which is what Couloir Magazine, my premier publication, was all about. And I kind of like the sound of that, okay? I was like nodding my head, agreeing. I don't know, a fair number of other people in the room were as well. The folks from backcountry were there. And Mitch Weber from Telemark Tips were there. But Mitch was not happy at all. He was so upset. He started pounding the table. He sat right next to me. And that's when I realized how much passion and energy was going on in this. And then when Susie approached me later that weekend and said, because she'd ran into some other people, I don't want to give away the whole story, but she came to me and says, I think we should do a Telemark Skier Magazine. And up until that point, Mitch pounding his fist on the table in front of like 30 people, I was like, we don't need another magazine. But then I realized there is something special about the whole telemark culture. And it's not that I didn't know that, but I guess I was afraid to impose that, because when I got really fanatical about this whole thing is when I became a telemarker. And then what ended up coming out of that was a newsletter that morphed into a magazine, which was Couloir Magazine, and that was kind of on the leading edge of pushing backcountry skiing and telemark skiing, for your heel, for your mind sort of thing. So that was all really good, and really my only objection to doing it was I wasn't sure that we could sell the ads for another publication. And so I basically said to Susie, look, if you can sell the ads, we'll do it. And she's like, done. We can do that, okay? And I bring that up because in relaunching telemarkskier.com, we're relaunching a media outlet devoted to telemark skiing and the culture surrounding that, okay? But Josh is adamant, and actually I agree with him, because things have changed from when we were doing print publications. The whole paradigm of supporting a publication for any subject with advertising, it's kind of gone by the wayside, because advertising has shifted from print to digital media. And there's one company that's controlling all of that. And so if I were a company and I were spending money, I wanted people to be made aware of my product, I'd spend money on advertising, okay? And I would select outlets, or this is the way it used to happen. You would select the publications, the media outlets that focused on a customer that was going to use my product. But that's not how it's done now. Now Google dominates all that, and they do it by demographic metrics, not necessarily by interests, by subject, okay? But they do it more by age and income and all kinds of things, right? But here's the other thing. They take a big chunk of that advertising spend from the manufacturer, and the publication receives the minority share of that, not the majority, or not all of it, not even, okay? So things have changed. So now, if there is a media outlet that is focused on a subject you are interested in, and you consider that to be important, and the information you get from it relevant to you and important to you, if you want it to maintain and survive, the way you used to do that is you would buy products that were advertised by that media outlet, and then a portion of that money, most of it would go to the company with the product, but a portion of that would end up feeding back to the media outlet, because that money was used to then fund advertising to attract more customers to sell more products, okay? But that chain's been broken with a monopoly. So now, if you like what a media outlet is doing, the way you support them is directly with a donation. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to put up a paywall, and we're going to charge a small fee, a monthly fee, and hopefully we justify that small fee. Hopefully, you will consider it a whale of a deal, okay? So we haven't set an exact date when we're doing this, but it's going to be soon, okay? And I'm looking forward to your support and your feedback. I found your feedback on these videos is great. It's helped me figure out what you want to hear about, and I've done that, and we'll continue doing that. Okay? So again, thanks for your support. Remember, you got a Freeheel that gives you a free mind. You don't have to follow the herd, but we gotta spread Telemark. So you got to get down on your knees and make it happen. Okay? We'll talk to you next week. Adios.